This is Edddie de Hamer here of Guitar Tutor Leeds, and for this video we're going to have a look at Nashville tuning, or rather adapted Nashville tuning. So Nashville tuning may be familiar to some of you, and for those who are not familiar with it, I'll mention quickly what it is. Nashville tuning is you take the strings, or some strings, of a 12-string set and put them on your guitar. So how does that work? Well, a 12-string set, they come with thin strings and thicker strings. So they come in pairs. You've got a melody string and you've got a bass string. So if you look, we're gonna, so usually for your low E, you get two strings. So the melody string you put on your regular strings. So you're gonna have a melody string for your E, for your A, for your D, for your G, and for your B and your E. The B and the E, usually with 12-string sets, they are the same gauge. That's how they tend to work. And when you do that, and when you then play, you'll find your guitar sounds a lot higher. So that is a feature of Nashville tuning. It sounds higher. So it may, the things you normally play may sound a little bit different. I wouldn't use it for that. I would use it just to get inspiration for playing something which is different. So, and what I have done, I didn't take the whole Nashville thing. I've just adapted. I've taken two strings from the Nashville idea and put that onto my string set, what I've got here today. So on my low E, I normally use a 56, which is quite thick. Now it is a 28, I believe. 28 or 26, because I've been using old strings for this purpose. I'm not quite sure what they are, but it's certainly a 28 or a 26. So it's a lot thinner, a lot thinner than what's normally on there. The A string, I kept exactly the same. My gauge is a 46, but what gauges I use doesn't really matter. I'll just mention it quickly. You could use if you want to, but I'm just thinking, you know, the regular set you use, and then you can alter some strings and you get a similar idea of what I've got here. So the A string I kept the same. My D string, that's been changed. So I have a wound D and I use a 032, again quite thick. Now it is a 020 or an 018. Again, because they've been old strings, not sure. I believe it's a 20, feeling, you know, it's much thicker than my other plain strings. Now we go to the G. I kept that the same. I use a wound G. You may not do that. That's fine, you know. My gauge for my G is a 026, and my B and E, and that's what I tend to do anyway, have both the same gauges. I use two 17s. That's because I can change tunings and still have like some strength left. Because normally if you use different tunings and you're going to go down, and if you use an 011 or an 010 set, at some point you just feel like the power is gone. So when they're a bit thicker, it's got more strength. But again, I'll leave that up to you. You don't have to do that. And that idea is similar in a 12-string set. They both have the same gauges as well, but they may have like two 12s and two 13s, depending on your string gauge. So I've got two 17s. Then the actual idea I'm using, so I've got two strings I changed. It came from trying something which Sonic Youth does often as well, like using a lot of unison tunings. So with the unison tuning I was looking at, for instance, it had two Fs on the E and the B, E and the A, and then it had, what did it have here? It had two A's, and then it had two C's, so two A's for the D and the G, and for the B and the E it used two C's. So when I was doing that, I liked the sound. I've done it before, but I use lots of different things, but not all the time, and I don't have a set way of playing. as I was doing it, I was then thinking, why not try the Nashville tuning with it, because it will give you more variety in your string sound. And then I thought, why not use this for a standard tuning, thinking with my students, you know, not everyone is used to playing different tunings. And when I did it, I just got the guitar and just put strings on and gave it back to them, and they really liked it. So, and the advantage of using this idea with standard tuning is that you can play what you normally play and just listen how it comes out now. So I'll just go into how the sound differs. So if I start with some chords, listen to how the E now sounds. What you'll notice straight away is you've got less bass because of that low E is gone. So it's more twangy. Sounds maybe a little bit like a mandolin. So if you play a lot of riffs, or power chords, they don't sound as what they normally sound. Still sounds pleasing, I think, but it's different. And there you notice straight away when I did that, you may think the tuning sounds a little bit off. Because you change some strings, you may have to adapt your intonation. If you don't do it, just adjust your tuning a little bit. That is one of the drawbacks. But like with any changes you do to your guitar, you may have to alter them to correct your tuning. You may have to change your intonation. It's not a problem, but if you only do this for a few hours and then go back to your regular strings, yeah, changing your intonation, you may think, I don't want to do that. That's fine. That's just one thing you may notice, and it's because of that reason. Because you change the strings. Okay, let me just show you a few other things. Like, you know, it's quite nice. You got like your E string. I like that sound. You can use, for instance, your E as a drone string and get a lower string underneath it, the A. You can play melodies on the A. Do it on the D string. The D string is very noticeable. You hear that? It's kind of like a metallic sound, metallic ring. If I just play on the D string on its own, you hear that there? Of course, there is also a bit of this guitar, but on your guitar you get similar things. I tend to use this guitar for a lot of things, and I find this one is good at a lot of the different things I try with it, which is great. Because you can do these things with any guitar, but certain guitars will respond better. But here, like, you hear it starts to sound a lot more metallic. But I have to say, there's probably also one of the features of this guitar when I play further up the fretboard, that it starts to behave like that. So play again, like use the D as a drone string. You don't have to restrict yourself to just playing one string underneath. I'll just go up a bit. So play now on the B string. So I've got two plain strings. And then even on the E. And still keep that D as a drone. And then go quickly back to the E. So that's my low E. And then reverse back to your D. if you got a plain G, you could do that the same. I don't have a plain G, it still works. And reversing back to the D. So, maybe if you like this, get also, you don't have to get a 12 string set, you just can get some separate single strings of different string gauges where you try the same idea with. If you want to do the whole Nashville thing, yeah, you can get like just a 12 string set and get the melody strings out of that and apply them and just put them on. But as I said, I've only done like 2 strings. I've changed, and that comes from the Nashville idea. The 2 strings, my E and my B, I've already had that anyway. But yeah, that is a feature of the Nashville tuning as well, that you use 2 of the same in your E and your B, 2 of the same gauges. I hope you liked the video, or that you find it useful for your own playing, and just enjoy it, just experiment and play with it. You can let me know how you feel about it once you have made a few changes to your guitar. It's always good to experiment. I like the idea that whatever you do, that you feel like I get like a totally different sound from my instrument. It's so much better instead of just getting like a little box, you know, like an effect pedal. Because if you just can do it yourself, you know, you're like open to like all sorts of things. Okay, well that's for it. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon again.